These people are the gift that just keeps on giving. I swear, waking up every day is now like Christmas morning, just over and over and over again. It's clear that none of these people had the thought enter their mind, hey, what if we were the ones actually in charge? Do we have a plan going forward? None of them. None of them have a plan. And I love it when they all put on the glasses to make themselves feel like they're intellectuals, especially in this particular case, S.E. Cupp and Alyssa Milano. I mean, totally hilarious. But guys, the implosion is epic. These people don't know where to go. They don't know who's going to be in charge. They don't even have a consensus on a direction because they've made these giant promises to their supporters, primarily minor high school kids, that they can't keep in 4 years, much less in 4 weeks, which is when, of course, we know high school kids will want to expect results. Because, and we were discussing this last night on Twitch, liberals don't think and act. They feel and they react. That's their shtick. You see, they don't think and act. They feel and then they react. And you can see it in this woman's face if you look really close. She has done the math. And she has seen the train that's coming. And she realizes they can't get out of the way in time. There's nothing they're going to be able to do, and it's gone. For those of you who haven't watched South Park, this is one of the most popular memes on the internet. It had to do with the crisis, the banking crisis, where the banks took the money and it just disappeared. Well, they won this election, allegedly, according to them, and all of the joy was literally gone instantaneously. Because they can't stop what's coming. You see, this is CNN. Huge wave of evictions possible in January. Now, I'm sure many of you are thinking, well, they'll just blame Trump. You see, that's something that conservatives might do if it was the other way around. But understand something about liberals. You see, they just, according to them, won this huge landslide election, right? So everything's going to change right now. Everything's going to change instantaneously. House leaders urge Democrats not to join Team Biden to maintain majority. Now wait until you read this. The sensitive topics of jumping ship to work for Biden, jumping ship to work for the same team, really, amid the loss of House seats, came up at a House Democratic caucus meeting last week. What does this mean? Wait till you hear this. Confronted with a shrunken majority, House leaders are discouraging fellow Democrats from taking jobs with the incoming Biden administration out of concern that Republicans could nab any vacated seats. Wait a minute. Back the truck up. I thought America had flipped blue. There was this giant blue wave, and there's just, a slopping over supply of other blue candidates to take those seats. Apparently not. Apparently not. Insiders variously accused House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Majority Leader Steny Hoyer of urging Dems to stay put to preserve their fragile majority. Nancy is telling House members now is not the time to leave, a Democratic Party official who's been briefed by Democratic congressional reps said. But another House insider said House Majority Leader Steny Hoyer is urging Democratic congressional reps to stay put and told the Biden transition team not to poach its members because of the party's slim majority following the November 3rd elections. How can that be? I thought this was a referendum on liberalism and that the country is turning blue and everybody wants Democrat leadership. Yeah, no. If you want to know how close it really is, the zeitgeist of the Democratic House leadership is that the majority is razor thin. And the numbers are, ballots are still being counted, but it's clear that the House Democratic majority will shrink from its current 233 to 201. The Democrats are projected to lose about a dozen seats. So, you think she's getting up in the morning with this wonderful, great mood? Maybe for about 3 seconds. And it's gone. And it's gone. You see, they don't have a plan. They don't have a plan. And they're running out stories like this, and they're going to try to hang it on Trump. It ain't going to work, though, because there's a problem. And these are lines from North Texas. This is the problem. You see, they pin themselves up and market themselves as the intellectual choice. They've spent all of these years at university, and they really know better how to run your life for you. But this is going to be the guy that they run out as the intellectual choice. The one on the left is an actual quote. COVID has taken, this year, just since the outbreak, it's taken more than 100 years. Look here, the lives, it's just, I mean, I think about it, more lives this year than any other year. It's just hilarious. I mean, he is, and has been for years, this gaffe machine that's just gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. I mean, Obama was full of it, but at least he could make it sound intellectual. And this is kind of what it really boils down to, guys, on a more serious note. I dug up this quote from Caesar. It's easier to find men who will volunteer to die than to find those who are willing to endure pain with patience for a time. Even if Biden were to be inaugurated, checkmate. Checkmate. You know why? They got clobbered in the House. They made no inroads in the Senate. The courts are gone for them for a generation, possibly more. In 2022, that'll be the end of the House majority. So in just 2 short years, they will have lost the House. They would have lost any hope of the courts. They will not gain any ground in the Senate. Conservatives will control 2 of the 3 branches of government, and the person that is in charge of the 3rd branch is mentally incapacitated and literally just not anything like what they thought they would get. See, here's the mistake they made. They wanted to depose Trump. They wanted to hate Trump. They wanted to get rid of him. But they didn't think about the ramifications of having to actually step into a leadership role and be the one in charge. See, they thought about the absence of Trump and the feeling they would get from the absence of Trump, but not about what the ramifications of that would mean. And you can literally watch. It's like a comedy show. It's like one of the best reality comedy shows you have ever seen in your life. Watching these people trip over themselves, unhappy, confused, wandering around in a fog, no idea what direction the country is going to take. See, we don't elect Pharaoh. We don't elect a Pharaoh. See, there was a time in history when a person took power, and as they spoke it, so was it done. If you had told Pharaoh, and I mentioned this in another video, the Queen of England, Pharaoh, Napoleon, Cyrus the Great, Caesar, any of them, hey, guess what? You're going to be in charge. You're going to be the person at the top. Most powerful nation in the world. But caveat, you can't make law. You can't make law. And you can't even rule on law. You can make no judgments and you can create no law. They just said, yeah, no thanks. Sorry. Sorry, not going to take that job. That seems like a bad job. Even, and I love to bring this up because it shows the British Empire as opposed to the Roman Empire. Even the British Empire had a House of Commons. Yes, they had kings and queens, but they had wealthy land barons, and there was always this quote unquote Game of Thrones. There was the King of Italy, the King of Spain, the King of Germany, the King of France, and all these other kings, and there was always these games going on. Even Caesar had a Senate. Arguably, probably the most powerful king and queen that ever lived was Isabel and Ferdinand, simply because of the amount of the wealth of the world that they controlled at that time. And they had the papacy as well. So, but we don't have anything like that. We have 3 branches of government. And right now, we control one firmly. Conservatives control one firmly. We control the Senate. We're on the verge of taking the House. Their side, the other side, the liberals, have the most incompetent, bumbling buffoon as a leader they could have possibly chosen. And they have nobody else stepping up into any kind of a leadership role at all, nor will they have. And she knows this. Pelosi knows this. It's all slipping out of her hands. I think she honestly would have preferred Trump for another 4 years because it would have maintained their quote unquote, their base, which is a bunch of minor high school kids on TikTok, energized to send out their message for them. Now they think they won. They're going to go back to doing what kids do. And when they don't get what they're promised, see, these 16 and 17-year-olds in 4 years are going to be 20 and 21. And they're going to realize they were lied to. So they are just going to wade off into the silent majority. But they're sure as heck not going to be bothered with these people anymore. Because there's some pain coming. There's some pain coming from a lot of people. And they're already starting to document it. It's gone. Their victory, their emotionally driven 4 years of pontificating is over. It is over, and all they are going to do is implode. And guys, kick your feet up, pop some popcorn, grab an icy cold beverage, and just watch the show. It is hilarious. Hilarious. The video I did yesterday talking about Obama should tell you everything you need to know. You would think if anybody would be out celebrating, it would be him. And what's the first thing he says? What 72 million Trump votes tells me about America is blah, 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 blah. Really? So you can tell where their mind is. It's in the off position. The switch up there. And it's all feels. And that's why they have to dress themselves up in glasses. To make it look like they're thinking. When really, it's a bunch of emotionalistic nonsense. And without the glasses, you'd see right through it. So, anyway, God bless. Pray for each other, lift each other up. And don't let your heart be troubled on this. It is going to be entertainment nonstop. Like, share, subscribe.